Is this thing recording?
I think so. The light's blinking.
Okay. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Team Carrot Cake, bring you guys another deck profile. As promised previously, I'm Blue.
Delta.
And this is the long-awaited, much-requested, blah blah blah, you know the drill. Joey Waking the Dragons.
Deck profile.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess we'll get right into it. By the way, guys, you can see in our deck list document, all our decks typed up, including Waking the Dragons Joey. So it's typed up there.
So, yeah, anytime, whenever we officially debut a deck, the list is there. So if we don't have a deck profile done right away for it,
The list is there.
you can still have access to what the contents of the deck are.
First up, Alligator Sword. He did not fuse with Baby Dragon and Waking the Dragons, but it's still there.
And we can probably presume he still has the fusion, but
Yeah, but he never actually made it. Battle Warrior. Much worse than Alligator Sword. But hey, glad they printed it. He used it in both this and Battle City.
it just never goes away.
Subtech Alligator. The vanillas
That's-
never stop.
Yeah, that's a newer one.
Yeah, it's his Summon Skull basically, and it's cooler than Summon Skull. I think it's better too. Doesn't Summon Skull only 1200 defense?
That is correct.
Flame Swordsman.
Wait, but that's a fusion.
So for those who don't know, so for those jumping on board with us right now, we do errata cards. Only the ones we feel we have to make it more accurate to the anime. You can actually see a list of all erratas in our errata document. Look at that; these great helpful documents.
By the way, the word errata in Yu-Gi-Oh means
Change the cards effect.
yeah. In case anyone does not know what that word means, where Konami does it when they've reprinted some cards that they keep changing the effect, they keep tweaking the effect.
We do it for some cards and make them more like the anime.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh or Konami has made some drastic changes, but we do it just to recreate the anime. We don't really make up anything that's our own.
Red Eyes Bee Dragon, which
Black.
finally got back.
Yeah, in
It
an
says B,
because
because I guess they couldn't write black.
I think it's ran out of room. Which is weird because they shrink the name
They
sometimes.
mean a
But
game where they just adjust the names. Who knows what goes through Konami's head? They're weird sometimes.
they censor everything for
But
no
it's nice to
reason.
have this back. Also because you can make a Hermos fusion with it.
Yeah, we never really saw when it came back. It just Battle City season ends and they're about to duel. Yugi and Joe about to duel and Waking the Dragon starts and stuff.
He has it back. So it hints that Joey may be in Yugi.
Or it just may have ended in a draw, or
he
Yugi
gave
was
his
like,
card back,
or Yugi wins. He's like, well, here's your card back. Because we all know Yugi didn't really want to keep it. He wanted,
Yeah.
So,
Swordsman and Landstar. Oh god, this card's just awful. Used first in Battle City. Let's get it out here.
yeah, cool. I mean, it sucks, but
Blue Flame Swordsman.
that's a new one.
Yeah, he started using this in Waking Dragons, and boy, is this a powerful
Thank
card.
you for Legendary Collection Joey's World.
So, yeah, we use this a lot. The attack boost with other warriors, especially in this deck, is huge. Waking Dragons Zoe actually won our first ever character deck tournament, which is not necessarily what we or a lot of other people thought, but it's a really strong deck, especially with cards like this. I mean, 1800 attack warrior is great. That can bring back another one when it's destroyed, or can bring back Flame Swords when it's destroyed. And the fact that you can attack boost another warrior on either turn is just huge.
Joey didn't actually play two of them, but because we didn't have enough individual cards to make a unique 40-card deck for Joey,
Yeah, we have duplicates on the cards he played.
and we duplicated more of the newer ones than the older ones that,
Because we'd rather
you know,
duplicate like Blue Flame Swordsman than Alligator Sword.
or Swordsman or Landstar, Blue Rolls.
Fiber Jar. What a crazy card. It's nice that a character uses this though. I like having a character deck duels.
If you don't know what Fiber Jar does, the next time you're playing a duel, in real life, not Dueling Network or anything, take the table and just flip the table over like that meme, and that's how Fiber Jar works.
Basically, you just totally reset up everything. Except life points. Can you imagine put life points back to 8,000 too? To Geoffrey the Iron Knight.
Okay, so this one's an older card of his.
That we
It's
doubled
not
up.
a new card, but for those of you who know Waking the Dragons, you know it's coming. If you don't remember Waking the Dragons, then keep watching this video.
Because that's why we doubled up Geoffrey the Iron Knight.
Because it turns out all along from Battle City that Geoffrey the Iron Knight was really just this older, really buff,
Grizzled.
long-haired
with a
swordsman
sword.
guy in it's like the song Iron Man from
Mhm.
Black Sabbath.
And that's the
Where
card you
it's-
use to bring it out.
Kind of like, this guy turned to metal type thing.
It's this card's really really good though.
Can only be special summoned by the effect of Release Restraint.
When you equip it, you gotta destroy something. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Equip with a equip card, destroy one monster you bought out.
Even 2600 attack, like being able to special summon this, that can be pretty commanding. You can get over Dark Magician, summon this and stuff. Guilford the Lightning, brought back from Battle City. Sometimes you get spec off. Jinzo, everybody's favorite android, makes a return.
Yeah, we've said enough on Jinzo.
Lord of the Red, a brand new card.
Again,
So
that was from the
that's from Dragons of Legend 2.
Yeah.
So those who don't know, you can ritual summon this card with Raz Transmigration. Yeah, so Joey used a couple rituals in this deck, actually. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated, except Lord of the Red, you can target one monster on the field destroyed. That is great. If your opponent tries to do anything, you can just pop monsters. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated, except Lord of the Red, you can target one spell trap card on the field and destroy it. So literally, it's just like, if they're not going to use like Fissure or something, or Soul Taker to get rid of it right away, anytime they activate a card, you're going to be able to pop a spell on a monster. So pretty broken, 2400 attack. Marauding Captain.
Was actually played by Joey. Unlike the Marauding Captain in Tristan's deck, which was
Thrown in.
he kind of goes with his warrior-ish theme because he played 5 cards and we built a whole 40-card deck out of him. Anyway,
This card, Blue Flame Swordsman, is so good sometimes because you can boost this with Blue Flame Swordsman on your turn to bring it up to 1800, then boost it on the opponent's turn to bring it up to 2400 Blue Flame Swordsman.
and they had to attack that one.
So yeah, really good combo.
Yeah, his Waking the Dragons deck played a little, not much, but a little bit more off his warrior monsters.
Neko Main King don't usually get spec'd off. I forget when he used it. It was definitely destroyed by something, by a Waking Dragon's opponent, and it ended the turn and it saved Joey's life, but it doesn't really happen in the real world that much. Paladin of Dark Dragon. This is basically like Paladin of White Dragon for Joey. So for those who don't know, it has the same stats too. You can ritual summon this card with Dark Dragon Ritual. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks a defense position monster, destroy that monster. Just like Paladin White Dragon. You can tribute this card special one Rise monster from your hand or deck, except Rise Beat Dragon. You only use this effect of Paladin Dark Dragon once per turn. So it's literally just Paladin White Dragon for
Because
Joey.
we had Paladin of White Dragon since Magician's Force, and like how many years later? Oh, here's the Red Eyes version. Because that's totally
Cool.
yeah. That's
But we finally got
consistency.
it, so I'm not going to complain. Now, also that has a dragon, and they made Joey's Hermos Fusions generic. So having more generic dragon monsters helps you make Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword thingy easier. Panther Warrior. Not much needs to be said. Rocket Warrior. Back from Battle City, not much needs to be said. The Fiend Mega Cyber.
He borrowed it from
Picked up a
Esperova.
trick from Esperova. It's kind of cool to see it in Joey's deck. 2200 Cyber Dragon, the OG Cyber Dragon. It's definitely a stronger card. It can sometimes be dead in hand, but you know that happens. And Time Wizard.
The card which he just had
Got from
some,
Yugi.
yeah, and
He's like, Joey, I think this might help you back in Duel's Kingdom, and he's used it ever since.
that's actually the reason that he has Red Eyes is because Duel's Kingdom, Rex dueled Joey. Rex saw Joey's rare Time Wizard and said, "Hey, let's wager cards. My Red Eyes for your Time Wizard." And we all know how that ended.
Yep. 2 Dark Dragon Ritual. Just like Kaiba's Waking the Dragons deck, which we will also deck profile, we have 2 of the Ritual to summon Paladin Dark Dragon. We'd rather double the Ritual than a monster. We figured this is a good one to double just because, I mean, generally speaking, a 4-star Ritual is easier to bring out than a 7-star Ritual like Lord of the Red. So this just helps make it easier to summon that. It just makes it more consistent. Also, Dark Dragon Ritual has this nifty effect where during your main phase, except the turn of card sent to the graveyard, you can banish a card from your graveyard, add 1 Red Eyes spell trap card from your deck to your hand. So the only Red Eyes spell trap card that Joey has is Red Eyes Transmigration, which is the ritual for Lord of the Red. Wow, how convenient is that? So if you summon Paladin Dark Dragon and you get a Dark Dragon ritual into the grave, you can banish this to add Red Eyes Transmigration to your hand, which makes the fusion summoning of Lord of the Red a little bit easier. So we just thought that this was very consistent, rather than put in 2 Red Eyes Transmigrations, which you could potentially search out. Put in 2 of this, easier summon Paladin Dark Dragon.
Because that card still has its own spell card effect,
Yeah.
basically.
Graceful Dice. Alright, you guys know the drill. Monster Reborn. So, for those who don't know, this card lets you special summon a monster from either player's graveyard. Pot of Greed.
What does that card do?
There's Rise Transmigration, like we talked about. We actually have yet to do the Paladin of, or the Dark Dragon Ritual Banish for Rise Transmigration. But something cool, a play that's at least possible down the road. Release Restraint, like we said, brings out that Geoffrey, the Sword Master.
By attributing one Geoffrey the Iron Knight.
Then we have 2 Scapegoat. Like we said, a few cards had to be doubled. Scapegoat's one of Joey's better defensive cards. It's not like a Mirror Force where we might be hesitant to double Mirror Force because it's such a powerful defensive card. This is a kind of passive defensive card.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know I said we doubled some newer cards. We doubled cards related to newer cards. This was just more of to give Joey more defensive.
Yeah, we play test the decks a lot too when we decide what to double. Like before we release a deck, it is not just like 40 or 45 or 50 unique cards, one of each. If it's not that, then we usually try to play it out, see what cards we feel should be doubled, see how it plays, make sure it plays well. It's not too bad. It's not broken. The Claw of Hermos. Oh man,
Ooh.
Joey's Legendary Dragon. Obviously, you can use it summoning of his Hermos fusions.
And for whatever reason, Konami thought it fit to change the art. For
Yeah, this is a badass art, but why? Why did it have to change?
2 out of the 3. They left Critias, but they changed Hermos and Timaeus, so now Timaeus is just his face.
Yeah, why they do it?
Instead of...
You know, they are reprinting them all in Dragons of Legend Unleashed. Maybe they're going to do the real arts. I doubt it. They did it for the God cards. You never know.
Just it's
The
a pet
Warrior
peeve of
Returning
mine.
Alive. By the way, guys, I meant to say this earlier, but we have all our deck lists typed up in the description down below in our deck list document. So you can see the written out list for everything in Joey's deck. Also, even if we debut a new deck and don't have a deck profile for it yet, you can find the deck list of a deck we debut in that document. So it's really cool and you should check it out.
So, yeah, so if we had a new duel coming up, say, maybe it was, I don't know, like a Jaden Neo stack and a Dr. Crowler deck, or
Even
a
before
Dark...
we deck profile them, you'd be able to see
Yeah.
in the
So,
deck list
you'll see the
document.
duel, but whenever you see the duel of the deck, that's us releasing it, and the deck profile comes whenever we get to it.
Double Magical Armbind, another nice new card we got for Joey out of
Because
Awakening
he
Dragons.
upgraded his Magic Arm Shield, because that was apparently necessary.
This card is worse than Magical Armor Shield, though. But you can tribute 2 of your monsters, take control of 2 of your opponent's monsters until your next end phase. So you can do it during your opponent's turn, for example. Then when your turn rolls around, you still have them until the end of that turn. It can be really good because you can get like game with it, but you have to tribute 2 monsters, so it is a lot harder to activate the Magical Armor Shield. It's definitely not as good. But. Drop Off. I think he used this in the virtual world, brought it back here, so it's not technically new to Awakened Dragons, but you know. He used it again in Awakened Dragons. It's pretty handy. It's like Time Seal, sort of, except you actually get rid of the card. I'd rather use Drop Off than Time Seal. Grave Robber. Not more needs to be said. This is one of our erratas, though. And we also, in addition to our deck list document, have our errata document in the description down below. Check that out. It lists all our card erratas.
Also, in the said deck list document, any card which has an errata effect has an asterisk by it. So you can go, if you look through a deck list and you see Joey's, you will see Grave Robber asterisk, so you know that card has a different effect the way we play.
Kunai with Chain. Not more needs to be said. Magical Arm Shield. The superior of the 2. Metalmorph brought in here to kick ass and take names. Great attack boost.
Was originally a Keith card.
Actually does a lot for Joey. He did use it for Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon though.
I want to get one of those.
Oh yeah, secret rare. And the last card is Skull Dice, just counterpart of Graceful Dice. And boom, that is Joey's 40 card deck. Obviously, you know, they released new cards of his from Waking the Dragons, of which there are some. Please, Konami, get on that, thank you. We will take out some of our duplicates and introduce those new cards.
But, I mean, generally, we will not update a deck profile for just one card. Some exceptions would be, you know, we will absolutely update Bakura with Dark Sanctuary because it's such a monumental card to his deck and it was his key thing. So we would change that. But just FYI, if like one card were to come out tomorrow for Joey's deck, we would add it in. That will be on the deck list document, but we will not necessarily do an updated deck profile every single card. Or if that would be the last card.
So on Joey's fusions, the only fusions he played were the Hermos fusions. No polymerization for Algiers or anything in here.
Because this whole season was about the
Hermos and the Legendary Dragons.
yeah. So they all had their fun little fusion guys.
Now, the way Joey's Hermos fusions worked is they were actually all equips. So Konami made them fusions and then just said that for each of them, if this card is special summoned, target one of their face monsters on the field, equip this card to it. So you have to equip them. No choice about it. So first up, we got Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. So this makes the monster gain 1,000 attack and then extra 500 for each dragon that either player has in the field and in the graveyard. So against somebody like Kaiba, I mean, you can just boost the monster by 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 really easy. You'll get 1,500 no matter what because you have to fuse Hermos with Red Eyes. So this is a 1,500 attack boost to anything. So even like Rocket Warrior becomes 3,000 attack, 1,000 plus 500 for each dragon. That can be really lethal.
Also, what's really cool is the artwork for all of the Hermos fusions. There is a silhouette of the original monster in the background, so
Yeah, that is
I
really
mean,
cool.
it won't really show up on camera necessarily.
If you guys have the cards, definitely look at it yourself.
I mean,
it's actually really cool.
Like I'm watching the camera, I can kind of see it in something, but yeah, if you have the
Maybe
card,
more noticeable than the other ones. The other advantage of these is that they don't need to be like Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword doesn't need to be made specifically with a Red Eyes. It can be Claw of Hermos and any dragon type monster. So that's why you can use Paladin of Dark Dragon 2 to make Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword. The Hermos fusions would be a little hard to make without that. Yugi's fusions were able to be made with, they made printed them to be only a specific fusion. But this is what we chose to do with Joey's, which isn't bad because it makes them more generic. For example, Rocket Hermos Cannon, which can be special summon with any warrior.
yeah, and again, with something else just to keep throwing out there. I mean, I know, I guess like in the anime, the Hermos fusions were also still monsters in the TCG slash OCG because they follow the same rules on that. They're fusions and they're equip spells, so their attack and defense mean nothing. However, the attack and defense of these cards are the attack and defense of their respective fusion monster. So, if you'll notice, the Red Eyes 1 has the attack and defense of Red Eyes 24 and 20. So, even though the fusions themselves are generic base of either a warrior or a dragon or a spellcaster, the picture, obviously, but the artwork background and the attack and defense stats are based off the original fusion material. So again, it's not really at all relevant for the gameplay, but it's just kind of a cool thing of how they produce the card, where the
Yeah.
numbers come from, the art.
Now, Rocket Hermos Cannon is alright. It gives a monster 2 attacks per battle phase, and it does piercing. Can be good at ending games, but...
And it's great if you have the Red Eyes
And then
sword.
Time Magic Hammer, which is the weakest stats, but again, that doesn't matter. They match Time Wizards. This one is a spellcaster in Claw of Hermos. Now, this one's harder to make than the other two, because I'm pretty sure the only spellcaster Joey has is Time Wizard in this deck.
Yeah.
But
Hence the
in attack
time.
duel, it might be easier to make. Anyway, what this one does is whenever the monster that it's equipped to battles an opponent's monster, you can at the start of damage step, roll a 6-sided die, and banish that monster until the nth turn, where the die result is N. So basically, you roll a 4, the opponent's monster is banished for 4 of their turns. So that can actually be really, really good. You can remove a lot of really powerful monsters.
I really like how Konami used the phrase nth term
Yeah.
because it's a very mathy thing.
It's a good way of describing
cards.
stuff.
It was the absolute
But
best way.
it's a more technical way. It is a very good way of describing it.
Because,
It's
I mean,
always using science.
You could always just say like turns that equal to the die roll, which they used to do, but the nth term is cleaned up and again more professional. I want to say
Also,
like
to
mathematically.
briefly tangent, one of the things I loved about playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Growing up is that you really learn so much, like really good vocabulary, improves your vocabulary, mathematical skills. It's actually a great game for kids to play, and stuff like this is just even better because it exposes kids to things that they'll see later in like high school or college as science, which is like the nth term. So it does Yu-Gi-Oh! Does a lot of good in that regard. Huge advocate of kids playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Here.
Except for the original polymerization, which just says fuses 2 or more monsters to make a new fusion monster. That is literally the description of the
Not
polymerization
very
from Legend of Blue Eyes.
intellectual,
At least in the English translation, it just says fuses 2 monsters. Like, okay, so that was before Konami started using big words. But other than that, yeah, I mean, like because you find stuff in there where it's the way stuff is written, it's just like
Pretty cool.
And there's some small child struggling to understand this somewhere. Our sympathies to you.
Thanks, guys, for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed Joey's deck profile. Yeah. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on our Facebook. And if you really, really love us, click the ads because that's how we make these decks. Thanks, guys. Team Carrot Kick out.